Sometimes, the door that closes in front of you is only making room for the one that truly matters. The words would have sounded comforting if they hadn't arrived on the worst afternoon of her life. The elevator chimed softly. The brushed steel doors slid open, reflecting a woman who looked calm enough to fool almost anyone. Almost. She stepped inside alone, clutching a worn leather portfolio against her chest. The corners of the folder had softened from years of interviews, hopeful applications, and quiet disappointments. A few strands of blonde hair had slipped loose from her neat ponytail, framing a face that still carried remarkable kindness, even after too many sleepless nights. The lobby behind her buzzed with polished shoes, cheerful conversations, and confident laughter. Employees crossed the marble floor with coffee cups in hand, discussing meetings, promotions, and weekend plans. No one noticed the young mother silently pressing the button for the ground floor. Claire lowered her eyes. She replayed every second of the interview, every answer, every smile, every pause. She already knew. She hadn't gotten the job. Again. 3 months. 27 interviews. 27 polite emails. 27 different ways to hear the same sentence. We've decided to move forward with another candidate. The elevator doors began to close. She finally allowed herself one slow breath. Not because she wanted to cry, because she couldn't afford to. Her daughter would be waiting at the neighborhood daycare in less than 45 minutes. Another late pickup meant another late fee. Money she simply didn't have. She glanced at the time on her phone. 2:18 p.m. Her checking account balance flashed briefly across the banking app she had forgotten to close. $34.61. Rent was due in 5 days. The refrigerator held half a carton of milk, a few eggs, and enough groceries for perhaps 2 dinners. If she skipped breakfast again. Claire slipped the phone back into her bag before the numbers could linger any longer. Outside the elevator's glass wall, sunlight poured through the towering windows of Heartwell Global Headquarters, painting warm reflections across polished stone floors. It was beautiful, clean, orderly. A world built by people who never seemed to worry about grocery lists or overdue utility bills. She didn't resent them. She simply wished, just once, to belong. The elevator descended with barely a sound. Her shoulders finally relaxed. At least her daughter would still greet her the same way she always did. With tiny running footsteps. With open arms. With absolute certainty that her mother could fix anything. Claire smiled through the ache in her chest. That smile was the bravest thing she owned. 5 floors above, inside a quiet executive office lined with floor-to-ceiling windows, someone continued watching the security monitor long after the interview had ended. Not the interview itself. The hallway afterward. The receptionist who accidentally dropped a stack of folders. The elderly maintenance worker struggling to steady his cleaning cart. The nervous intern searching for directions. One applicant had walked past all 3 without slowing down. Another had apologized for being late. Another had checked a text message while stepping around the scattered papers. Only one person had quietly knelt on the polished floor, gathering every page before anyone asked. She never looked toward the cameras. She never expected anyone to notice. The elevator reached the lobby. The doors parted. Claire adjusted the strap of her tote bag and stepped into the afternoon sunlight, believing the hardest part of her day was still ahead. Behind her, a chair scraped quietly across hardwood flooring. Footsteps moved with unexpected urgency. Then a calm voice echoed across the grand lobby. "Wait." Claire stopped walking. For one heartbeat, the entire world seemed to pause. Claire turned slowly. The voice had not been loud. Did not need to be. Everyone nearby seemed to pause without realizing why. Conversations softened. Footsteps slowed. Even the revolving glass door appeared to turn more quietly as a tall man crossed the marble floor with calm, deliberate steps. His charcoal suit was impeccably tailored, yet there was nothing theatrical about him. No entourage, no hurried assistant whispering into an earpiece. He carried himself with the quiet confidence of someone who had long ago stopped needing to prove who he was. Claire recognized him immediately. Ethan Ashford, founder and chief executive officer of Heartwell Global. His face appeared often in business magazines, usually beside headlines about billion-dollar acquisitions or groundbreaking technology. Standing only a few feet away, however, he looked less like a celebrity and more like a man who had not slept particularly well. "I believe you forgot this," he said gently. He extended a single sheet of paper. Claire blinked. Her recommendation letter. She reached for it with both hands. "Thank you, Mr. Ashford. You remembered my name." A faint smile touched her lips. "I researched the company before the interview." "I see." For a brief moment, neither of them spoke. The silence felt surprisingly comfortable. Then Ethan glanced toward the portfolio she still held tightly against her chest. "You expected a different outcome." It was not a question. Claire looked toward the bright afternoon outside the entrance. "I think I did." "You sound certain." "I have learned to recognize that look." "What look?" "The one interview panels have when they already know someone else will get the position." She laughed softly, though there was no bitterness in it. "It saves everyone time." Ethan studied her expression. There was disappointment, exhaustion, but no resentment. That caught his attention far more than any answer she had given upstairs. "You helped Mrs. Turner." Claire looked confused. "The receptionist." "Oh." She nodded as though it hardly mattered. Her folders fell. Most applicants kept walking. They probably had somewhere to be. "And you did not?" "I did." She glanced once more at the clock on her phone. "My daughter will be wondering why I am late." The words escaped naturally. No attempt to gain sympathy. No carefully crafted explanation. Simply the truth. Ethan noticed the tiny photograph tucked inside the clear sleeve of her portfolio. A little girl with bright eyes stood beneath a playground slide, missing one front tooth, laughing with complete abandon. "Your daughter." Claire's entire face changed. The exhaustion remained, but something brighter quietly appeared beneath it. "Her name is Lily." "How old?" 5. "The best age," Ethan said almost to himself. Claire smiled. "I think every age has been my favorite." His eyes rested on the photograph another second before returning to hers. "You nearly missed your interview this morning." She looked surprised. "The security desk mentioned it. My babysitter's car would not start." "You still arrived." 7 minutes late. "You apologized to everyone." "I was late." "You also stopped to help someone before coming upstairs." Claire lowered her eyes, almost embarrassed by the attention. "My mother used to tell me something." "What was that?" "If kindness only happens when life is easy, then it is not kindness." The sentence lingered between them. Neither of them moved. Behind the glass walls, employees continued streaming toward nearby restaurants for lunch. Traffic rolled steadily through downtown. The city carried on exactly as it always had. Yet something inside Ethan shifted. Not dramatically, not all at once. More like a door that had quietly unlocked after remaining closed for years. He folded his hands loosely behind his back. "Miss Claire." She looked up. "I would like to ask you something." Her heartbeat quickened. "If your interview had not ended today." He paused, choosing his words carefully. "Would you have told anyone that your daughter has been waiting at daycare this entire time?" Claire answered without hesitation. "No." "Why not?" "Because every parent in this building probably has someone waiting for them." Her voice remained gentle. "My responsibilities should not become someone else's burden." Ethan held her gaze. For the first time that afternoon, he was no longer thinking about the interview panel. He was thinking about the woman standing in front of him and wondering if the company had just made the biggest mistake of the year. Claire tightened her grip on the leather portfolio. She had prepared herself for another polite goodbye, not for another question. Ethan noticed the uncertainty in her eyes and stepped slightly aside, away from the steady flow of employees entering and leaving the lobby. "Would you walk with me for a few minutes?" Claire hesitated. Her first instinct was to decline. Every minute mattered. Every late pickup meant another charge she could barely afford. She looked down at the time, then back at him. "I only have about 20 minutes before I need to leave." "That will be enough." He gestured toward a quiet courtyard visible through the west entrance. Natural sunlight spilled across brick pathways lined with maple trees. A small fountain murmured gently in the center, softening the sounds of downtown traffic beyond the gates. It felt strangely peaceful, almost disconnected from the towering corporate headquarters behind them. They walked side by side. Neither hurried. Neither felt the need to fill every silence. "I hope this is not inappropriate," Ethan said after a moment, "but I would rather speak with you here than inside another conference room." Claire looked around the courtyard. "I like this better." "Why?" "Conference rooms make people feel like they are being judged. And this? It feels like two people having a conversation." Ethan smiled quietly. "That is exactly what I was hoping." A pair of sparrows landed near the fountain, hopping across the stone edge before taking flight again. Claire watched them disappear into the bright afternoon sky. "My daughter loves birds." "Lily?" "Yes." "Does she have a favorite?" She laughed softly. "She says every bird is her favorite until another one flies by." Ethan found himself laughing as well. Surprised him. His schedule was usually measured in quarterly reports, investor meetings, and acquisition deadlines. Somehow, discussing birds felt unexpectedly important. "When was the last time you took a day off?" Claire asked. He looked genuinely puzzled. "I cannot remember." "I thought so. You could tell." "You answered too quickly." They continued walking. The breeze carried the scent of freshly cut grass across the courtyard. Maintenance workers trimmed flower beds along the pathways while several employees ate lunch on shaded benches. No one interrupted them. Most people simply nodded respectfully before continuing on. "You know," Claire said, "when I researched Hartwell Global, every article talked about growth. They usually do. But none of them talked about people." Ethan glanced toward her. "What would you have written?" She thought carefully before answering. "I would have wanted to know whether the people inside the building went home happier than when they arrived." The words settled quietly between them. He had spent years building one of the fastest growing companies in the country. Stock prices, expansion, innovation, recognition. Yet no annual report had ever measured what she had just described. He looked toward the office tower rising above the courtyard. Glass reflected the afternoon sun with almost blinding brilliance. "It is difficult," he admitted. "What is?" "Building something without losing sight of the people who make it possible." Claire nodded. "My mother used to clean office buildings." He listened carefully. "She always said you could tell what kind of company it was by how employees treated the janitors." "And what did she usually find?" Claire smiled with quiet sadness. She said the people with the smallest job titles often carried the biggest hearts. Ethan lowered his eyes. Earlier that morning he had watched security footage again. Not because he doubted the hiring committee, because something had continued bothering him. Every applicant had spoken confidently during the interview. Only one had thanked the security guard on the way inside. Only one had asked the receptionist whether she was feeling better after noticing the brace on her wrist. Only one had stopped to help the maintenance worker steady his cart before walking into the interview room. None of those moments appeared on a resume. None of them increased quarterly profits. Yet somehow, they seemed to matter more than every polished answer spoken around the conference table. He stopped beside the fountain. Claire turned toward him. The afternoon light reflected across the moving water between them. "Miss Claire," Ethan said gently, "what if I told you that your interview did not end upstairs?" A flicker of confusion crossed her face. "I do not understand." "I know." He took a slow breath. "And that is exactly why I would like to tell you what really happened today." Claire searched his face for any sign that he was joking. There was none. The fountain continued its gentle rhythm behind them. Somewhere across the courtyard, a bell chimed from a nearby church tower, marking another quarter hour slipping away. "I thought the interview was over," she said quietly. "So did everyone else." She frowned. "What does that mean?" Ethan rested one hand lightly against the stone edge of the fountain. "When the panel voted this morning, they believed they had already reached a decision. They rejected me. They rejected your qualifications for that position." Claire forced a small smile. "I appreciate you trying to make that sound better." "I am not trying to make it sound better." He looked directly into her eyes. "I am trying to explain what they failed to see." The breeze stirred the leaves overhead. Neither of them spoke for several seconds. Finally, Ethan reached into the inside pocket of his suit jacket and removed a thin tablet. With a few quiet taps, several security images appeared across the screen. Claire immediately recognized the first one. She was kneeling near the reception desk, gathering scattered folders while Mrs. Turner struggled to balance herself with her injured wrist. I did not know anyone saw that. You were not looking for anyone to notice. He swiped to the next image. Claire was holding the lobby door open for an elderly maintenance employee, whose cleaning cart had become caught on the floor mat. Another image appeared. She was speaking with the nervous young intern, pointing him toward the correct conference room after noticing his obvious confusion. Claire stared at the screen. I forgot those even happened. I did not. She looked back at him. Why were these recorded? The cameras record everything inside the public areas of the building. And you watched all of it? I watched every candidate after the interviews ended. Claire seemed genuinely puzzled. Why? Because interviews rarely tell me who people are. His answer came without hesitation. They tell me who people prepare to become for 1 hour. He turned off the screen. I wanted to know who each person became after they believed nobody was evaluating them anymore. Claire absorbed the words slowly. So, she hesitated. You were still interviewing us. In a way. She let out a quiet breath. I had no idea. I hoped you would not. The realization settled over her with surprising weight. Every small decision she had made that afternoon had simply been instinct. Not strategy. Not performance. Just habit. My mother used to tell me, Claire said softly, that character is what remains after applause disappears. Ethan smiled. She sounds like a remarkable woman. She was. The smile faded with gentle sadness. I lost her several years ago. I am sorry. So am I. For another moment, only the sound of moving water filled the space between them. Then Ethan spoke again. The hiring committee gave each candidate a numerical score. I probably finished near the bottom. You finished second. Claire blinked. Second. They valued experience in one specialized software system that another applicant had already mastered. She nodded slowly. That makes sense. It does. He paused. But there was no category for integrity. No category for compassion. No category for quiet leadership. Claire looked away. I have never thought of myself as a leader. You helped 3 people today. I only did what felt normal. Exactly. His voice remained calm. You never calculated whether helping them would improve your chances. I was not thinking about chances. You were thinking about people. The sentence lingered. Ethan folded the tablet and slipped it back into his jacket. I have spent many years hiring brilliant employees. He glanced toward the towering headquarters behind them. They solved difficult problems. They increased revenue. They built extraordinary products. Then he looked back at Claire. But every truly exceptional person I have ever hired shared one quality. She waited. They made everyone around them feel seen. Claire lowered her eyes. No interviewer had ever said anything remotely like that before. Her phone vibrated gently inside her bag. She glanced at the screen. Daycare. Her expression changed immediately. I am sorry. She looked up with quiet urgency. I have to pick up Lily. Ethan nodded without disappointment. Of course. She adjusted the strap on her shoulder and offered a grateful smile. Thank you for explaining everything. She turned to leave. Then Ethan spoke once more. There is still one decision that has not been made today. Claire stopped. Slowly. She turned back toward him once again. Claire's fingers tightened around the strap of her tote bag. She wanted to keep walking. She needed to keep walking. Lily had already spent enough afternoons watching other children leave before her mother arrived. I really cannot be late, Claire said gently. She gets worried when I am the last parent. Ethan nodded with complete understanding. Then let me ask only one question. She waited. If someone offered you a better opportunity today, would you still say no because you are running late? Claire smiled faintly. I would ask if I could answer tomorrow. Why? Because promises made while rushing usually become promises people cannot keep. The answer caught him off guard. It was practical, honest, thoughtful, not the response of someone desperate. You have every reason to accept the first offer that comes along, he said. I do. But you still would not. She shook her head. I have Lily watching everything I do. The afternoon breeze lifted a few loose strands of her hair. When children are little, they believe every decision their parents make is the right one. Her voice softened. I want her to grow up knowing that doing the right thing sometimes means slowing down enough to think. Ethan looked toward the fountain without speaking. He suddenly remembered something his own father had once said decades earlier. Character is expensive. Most people only discover its value after they have traded it away. He had not thought about those words in years. Claire glanced once more at her phone. 3 missed calls from the daycare. A knot formed quietly in her chest. I should call them. Please. She stepped a few feet away, not because she wanted privacy, but because she did not want her conversation to inconvenience him. The call connected almost immediately. Hello, Miss Jensen. Her voice carried calm warmth despite the worry beneath it. I am so sorry. I am on my way. She listened. A relieved smile appeared. Thank you for staying with her. Another pause. I truly appreciate it. She ended the call with visible gratitude. They are keeping Lily inside until I arrive, she explained. The teacher said they were reading together. Ethan smiled. That must be a good teacher. The best. Claire laughed softly. She always tells me not to apologize for loving my daughter. The words lingered in the quiet courtyard. Not dramatic, simply true. Ethan had attended board meetings with some of the brightest executives in the country. He had negotiated contracts worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Yet somehow, this simple conversation carried more weight than most of those meetings ever had. What would success look like for you? He asked. Claire answered almost immediately. A home where Lily never worries. He expected more. She offered none. No luxury? She smiled. I have never dreamed about luxury. No large house. A small one is easier to clean. No expensive vacations. I think Lily would be just as happy feeding ducks at the neighborhood pond. Ethan laughed quietly. You have very affordable dreams. I have meaningful ones. There was no sadness in her voice, only certainty. She continued. I do not want my daughter to grow up believing happiness belongs only to people with money. What do you want her to believe? Claire looked toward the bright blue sky beyond the trees. I want her to believe that kindness can still pay the bills. She smiled at the irony. I know it sounds unrealistic. No, Ethan answered almost before she finished speaking. It sounds rare. She looked back at him. For years, he continued, I believed companies were built by the smartest people. And now, I think they survive because of the kindest ones. Neither of them noticed Mrs. Turner standing quietly inside the lobby near the glass entrance. The receptionist had watched nearly the entire conversation through the windows. She smiled to herself. After 22 years working at Heartwell Global, she had seen hundreds of applicants come and go. She had never once seen the chief executive officer spend this much time speaking with someone who had supposedly not been hired. Ethan drew one slow breath. His decision was no longer forming. It had already been made. He looked at Claire with calm certainty. There is a position in this company that has never appeared on any public job listing. Claire blinked. I do not understand. I know. A gentle smile crossed his face. But I believe, before this day ends, you will. Claire stood quietly, almost afraid to interrupt the silence. She had spent months hoping someone would simply give her a chance. Now, standing in the middle of Heartwell Global's peaceful courtyard, she felt as though the day had quietly rewritten itself. Ethan folded his hands. The position I mentioned is not open because someone resigned. Claire listened carefully. It is open because I have never found the right person. She looked surprised. You created a position without filling it? I refused to fill it until I found someone whose values matched its purpose. She smiled politely. I am not sure I am that person. I am. His certainty landed with more weight than any compliment she had received in years. Claire searched his face, expecting to find hesitation. Instead, she found calm conviction. What kind of position is it? She asked. Ethan began walking again, inviting her to follow. It reports directly to my office. She blinked. I do not have executive experience. I know. I have never managed a large team. I know. I have been unemployed for 3 months. I know. Claire stopped walking. Then why are we having this conversation? Ethan turned toward her. Because I already have executives. His voice remained steady. I already have analysts. I already have managers. He paused. I do not have enough people who remind everyone else what this company is supposed to stand for. The afternoon sunlight reflected softly across the windows above them. Employees continued moving through the campus, unaware that one quiet conversation was about to change 2 lives. Claire looked down. I think you are giving me too much credit. No. I think you have spent years giving yourself too little. She did not answer. Some words were too unexpected to respond to immediately. Ethan continued. The position is called Director of Employee Experience. Claire repeated the title slowly. Employee Experience. It exists for one reason. He looked toward the headquarters. Every person who walks into that building should leave feeling respected. She frowned slightly. Can one person really do that? No. He smiled. But one person can teach thousands of others how. Claire absorbed every word. It sounded less like a corporate role, and more like a responsibility. I studied business administration, she admitted. But after Lily was born, I accepted whatever work I could find. There is no shame in that. I know. She smiled gently. I just never imagined my career would look like this. Ethan nodded. Neither did mine. That answer surprised her. My first company failed. She looked at him. I lost almost everything before Hartwell ever existed. I did not know that. Most people do not. He laughed softly. They usually meet successful people after the difficult chapters have already ended. Claire understood exactly what he meant. People often admired strength. Few ever witnessed the years required to build it. A breeze carried laughter from several employees eating lunch beneath a nearby oak tree. One young accountant noticed Ethan and waved. Instead of offering a formal nod, Ethan smiled and waved back first. The employee's face lit up with genuine surprise. Claire noticed. So that is why. Ethan looked at her. You greet everyone first. You noticed. I think people remember how someone makes them feel before they remember what they accomplished. He smiled. My father believed the same thing. Claire took one slow breath. I still do not know whether I am qualified. Ethan reached into his jacket once more. This time he removed a simple white envelope with the Hartwell Global logo embossed across the front. He held it out toward her. This is not an employment contract. Claire accepted it carefully. It is an invitation. She looked up. To what? Spend 1 week with us. No title. No promises. No obligation. He spoke gently. Meet our employees. Ask difficult questions. Tell me what you see. Claire looked down at the unopened envelope resting in her hands. She had arrived expecting another rejection, and said someone had offered her something far more valuable than a job. He had offered her the chance to be heard. For the first time in many months, the future no longer felt like a closed door. It felt like a path she had not known existed. Claire looked at the envelope for another long moment before slipping it carefully into her portfolio. She treated it as though it already mattered, not because it guaranteed anything, because someone had trusted her enough to offer it. I do not know how to thank you, she said. Ethan smiled gently. By coming back on Monday. She laughed softly. I think I can do that. He glanced toward the parking area beyond the courtyard. How did you get here today? The city bus. And getting to daycare? Another bus. He nodded. You still have enough time. I hope so. Claire adjusted the strap on her shoulder and started to leave once again. After only a few steps, she turned back. There is something I have been wondering. What is it? You said the hiring committee chose someone else. They did. Will they be upset that you disagreed? Ethan answered without hesitation. They are excellent at evaluating experience. And you? I evaluate people. His voice carried neither pride nor criticism, only honesty. The company needs both. Claire thought about that answer as she smiled. I suppose that is why you are the chief executive officer. He chuckled. Some days I am still trying to deserve the title. Before she could reply, another voice called from across the courtyard. Mr. Ashford. A woman in a navy business suit approached quickly, carrying a tablet against her chest. Claire recognized her immediately. She had chaired the interview panel only an hour earlier. Am I interrupting? The executive asked. Not at all, Ethan replied. The woman glanced politely toward Claire before returning her attention to him. We have finalized the hiring paperwork for the operations coordinator position. I expected you had. The candidate has already accepted. Good. The executive hesitated. There is one more matter. She lowered her voice. Several members of the committee were surprised you requested copies of today's security recordings. Claire instinctively looked away, feeling as though she had accidentally overheard something private. Ethan noticed. There is nothing confidential here. He turned back toward the executive. I asked for the recordings because interviews reveal preparation. He spoke calmly. Behavior reveals character. The executive remained thoughtful. You believe we missed something. I believe we overlooked someone. For a brief moment, the woman studied Claire with fresh eyes. Not as another unsuccessful applicant, but as someone the chief executive officer clearly respected. I understand, she said quietly. No. Ethan smiled kindly. I do not think you do. She waited. Our hiring process successfully measures knowledge. It does not yet measure humanity. The words settled gently between them. The executive lowered her tablet slightly. I have worked here for 14 years. So have I. I have never heard anyone describe hiring that way. Perhaps that is why we need to. Claire stood silently, unsure whether she belonged in the conversation. She was preparing to excuse herself when Mrs. Turner stepped through the lobby doors carrying a small paper bag. Miss Claire. Claire turned. I almost forgot. The receptionist smiled warmly as she handed her the bag. You left your lunch in the waiting area. Claire looked inside. A simple turkey sandwich. An apple. A small bottle of water. She laughed quietly. I packed it before leaving home this morning. Mrs. Turner smiled. And then you became so busy helping everyone else that you forgot to eat. Claire felt her cheeks warm. I guess I did. Ethan looked at the untouched lunch. You skipped lunch before your interview. I wanted to save it for afterward. Why? She answered as though it were obvious. I promised Lily we would share the apple together. No one spoke. The simple sentence carried more weight than any speech could have. Mrs. Turner blinked away unexpected tears. The executive lowered her eyes. Even Ethan found himself smiling with quiet admiration. Claire carefully closed the paper bag. I really have to go now. You do, Ethan agreed. He reached into his pocket and handed her a simple business card. There is a direct number on the back. She accepted it with both hands. If you have any questions this weekend, call me. Claire looked at the card, then back at him. You are trusting someone you have only known for an hour. Ethan's answer came almost instantly. No. His smile was calm. I am trusting the woman you have been your entire life. Monday morning arrived with clear skies and a quiet sense of possibility. Claire stood outside Hartwell Global 10 minutes early, smoothing the sleeve of her simple cardigan before taking one steady breath. Nothing about her outfit had changed. Nothing about her kindness had changed either. Only her hope felt different. She stepped through the revolving doors. Before she could reach the reception desk, Mrs. Turner looked up with a smile that felt more like a welcome home than a greeting. I was hoping you would come back. Claire smiled. I almost talked myself out of it. I am very glad you did not. Mrs. Turner handed her a temporary employee badge. Across the bottom, instead of a department name, 2 simple words had been printed. Guest observer. Claire looked at the badge curiously. I thought I was interviewing. Mrs. Turner shook her head. Not today. Moments later, Ethan joined her in the lobby. He was carrying 2 paper coffee cups. I remembered you declined coffee before your interview. Claire laughed softly. I could not afford to spill it on my blouse. I understand. He handed her 1 cup. It is hot chocolate. She looked surprised. How did you know? You mentioned sharing warm chocolate with Lily whenever she had a difficult day. Claire smiled with genuine surprise. You remembered. I try to remember what matters to people. They began walking through the headquarters together. There were no conference rooms, no presentations, no interviews. Instead, Ethan introduced her to people throughout the building: the security officers, the mailroom staff, software engineers, customer service representatives, custodians, receptionists. He greeted every person by name. He asked about children, aging parents, weekend baseball games, volunteer projects, and birthdays. Claire quietly noticed something remarkable. People smiled before he even reached them. Not because he was the chief executive officer, because they believed he genuinely cared about the answer before asking the question. After nearly an hour, Ethan stopped beside a large window overlooking the city. What have you noticed? Claire thought carefully. No one seems afraid of you. He laughed. I will accept that as a compliment. They respect you. She looked around the busy office. But something is missing. What? She hesitated. The people on the executive floor know many names. They do not know enough stories. Ethan became very still. What makes you say that? I have watched every conversation today. She smiled gently. Everyone asks employees what they are working on. She paused. Almost no one asks how they are doing. Silence settled between them. Not uncomfortable, thoughtful. Ethan nodded once. I was hoping you would see something I had stopped seeing. Claire looked at him. I think companies grow the same way families do. How is that? They become stronger when people feel safe enough to tell the truth. He looked across the office floor. Employees were collaborating, answering calls, solving problems. The business appeared healthy. Yet he suddenly realized how many quiet burdens people probably carried home every evening without anyone ever asking. At that moment, a young customer service representative hurried toward them. She looked nervous. I am sorry to interrupt, Mr. Ashford. You never interrupt. My son's school just called. Her voice trembled slightly. He has a high fever and I need to leave. You should already be on your way. She blinked. But the afternoon call volume. We will manage. He smiled reassuringly. Your son only needs one mother. Tears filled the young woman's eyes. Thank you. She hurried toward the elevators. Claire watched her disappear. Then she turned back toward Ethan. You answered in 3 seconds. I did. You did not ask about productivity. No. You did not ask who would cover her work. No. She smiled warmly. I think your company is already changing. Ethan looked at her with quiet gratitude. No. He shook his head gently. I think it started changing the moment you walked through the front door again. 3 months later, the autumn sunlight poured through the glass walls of Hartwell Global with the same quiet warmth that had filled the courtyard on the afternoon everything had changed. The building looked exactly the same. The people inside did not. Small conversations lingered a little longer. Managers stopped by workstations without an agenda. Birthdays were remembered. New employees no longer spent their first week feeling invisible. Some changes were too small to appear in quarterly reports. Yet everyone could feel them. Claire stood near the reception desk, now wearing a simple employee badge that read, Director of Employee Experience. She still carried the same leather portfolio. She still greeted the security officers before stepping into the elevator. She still stopped whenever someone needed help. The title had changed. Her heart never had. Mrs. Turner smiled as Claire walked by. You know, she said, people smile more in this lobby than they used to. Claire laughed softly. Maybe they were always capable of smiling. What changed? Someone finally started noticing. Before either woman could continue, the front doors opened. A young woman hurried inside, clutching a folder against her chest. Her eyes were red. Her shoulders were slumped. Claire recognized that expression immediately. She had seen it in the mirror not very long ago. The receptionist spoke gently. I am sorry. The interview process has already ended. The young woman nodded. I know. She forced a polite smile. I was just hoping someone could tell me whether I left my notebook upstairs. Claire quietly walked over. I can help you. The young applicant looked embarrassed. I am sorry. You do not need to apologize. I think I ruined everything. Claire smiled with quiet understanding. I used to believe that too. Together they rode the elevator upstairs. The young woman found her notebook resting exactly where she had left it. As they returned toward the lobby, she finally whispered the question that had been weighing on her heart. Do you think I failed? Claire looked toward the closing elevator doors. Then she smiled. Sometimes the answer you receive today is not the whole story. The young woman frowned slightly. What do you mean? Claire remembered another afternoon, another elevator, another unexpected voice calling her name. She simply replied, life has a way of continuing conversations we believe have already ended. The doors opened. Waiting in the lobby stood Ethan. He had witnessed the final moments of the conversation without interrupting. The young applicant thanked Claire before quietly leaving the building. For a moment, Ethan and Claire watched the revolving doors turn slowly behind her. You said exactly the right thing, Ethan remarked. Claire smiled. I learned from someone. He laughed softly. I was hoping you would say that. A company-wide gathering began later that afternoon. Employees from every department filled the bright atrium. There were no dramatic announcements, no elaborate presentations, only a few honest words. Ethan stepped to the front of the room. He looked around at the hundreds of faces that had helped build Hartwell Global. Then he spoke. For many years, I believed the greatest hiring mistake was choosing the wrong person. He paused. I was wrong. The room grew completely still. The greatest mistake is overlooking the right one because we were measuring the wrong things. His eyes found Claire standing quietly near the back of the room. She had chosen not to stand beside the executives. She never asked to be the center of attention. Ethan smiled. The most valuable resume I have ever received did not list extraordinary achievements. It revealed extraordinary character. Applause filled the atrium. Claire lowered her eyes, humbled by every word. She thought about Lily, about the bus rides, about the packed lunches, about every interview that had ended with disappointment. None of those days had been wasted. They had quietly shaped the woman standing there. That evening, after picking Lily up from school, they walked together through the neighborhood park. The little girl reached into the paper lunch bag Claire had carried all day. The apple is still here, Lily said with a delighted smile. Claire laughed. I promised we would share it. They sat on a weathered wooden bench as the golden light settled across the pond. Nearby, children laughed. Birds drifted across the water. The world felt beautifully ordinary. Claire handed Lily half the apple. Lily took one bite, then looked up with the simple wisdom only a child could offer. Mom. Yes, sweetheart. You always tell me to be kind. I do. Does kindness always come back? Claire looked toward the fading sunlight, then wrapped an arm gently around her daughter. Not always in the way we expect. She smiled. But it always finds its way home.